Hey guys, thanks for stopping by. If you like my video, please like and subscribe. Also check me out on Twitch as Floyd Mason.
Hello, welcome back. I guess I don't really have a nickname for this one. My regular streams are sports fans. My Goosebumps ones have been Spooks fans. But I wanted to try a new one and just kind of have a free talk one. But discussing the Nintendo Power magazines. So I recently picked up a bunch of these. There's something I've been wanting to collect and read for a long time. One of my best friends in grade school, his older brother, had a subscription. He would let us borrow his Super Nintendo sometimes to play, and he would let us read the magazines if we got stuck. So I wanted a good reason to just kind of read through them. I'm going to use some of them to beat some NES games that I have that I've never been able to beat. But I thought it'd be fun to just kind of look through them and talk about them. They're going to be a lot less informal than my Goosebump videos. The Goosebump videos, I like to talk about the whole plot, so I make a list of things, and then I read it, and sometimes poorly because I can't read my own writing, and I get lost in what I'm doing. This one, I just kind of want to talk about it. I just want to look at like what's in the book, what's cool about it, maybe read an excerpt or two, talk about what games they think are hot or the best games at the time, and just kind of my general opinion on it all. So, starting with the cover. I think this is a pretty cool cover. It's kind of a claymation thing. Definitely something that stood out about these is the covers. Maybe at some point I'll do, if I get through a bunch, I'll do a ranking of some of them. But I mean, the problem is there's so many of them that it'd be impossible to do them all, and like I don't really want to have them all. And when I'm doing a list, a huge pile, do them out. So maybe I'll do them in like eras. Like maybe I'll break up and do all the ones that are NES, and all the ones that are then Super Nintendo and 64 as I get them. So obviously I don't have them all yet. Hopefully I can find them. They're hard to find in good shape, and if they are, they're usually somewhere else. You got to pay to ship them, which is a pain. So feel pretty good. I mean, this is a pretty clean copy of number one. Little dingage up on the back here, but other than that, pretty nice. Yeah. So this magazine is it starts with Super Mario Brothers 2 is kind of the cover here, and they have a very, very nice breakdown of the game. Beautiful spreads here, and just basically walking through the levels. So I think they get a little better as it goes on, as I recall, about kind of breaking down, okay, here's a map of the stages. Here's exactly what you do. Here's exactly where you go. Because they started making it more so to help you with hard games. Because that's what people wanted. That's what sold it. But in this one, it's just kind of telling you, it's almost telling you like just how to play. It's like screenshots of like how to lift enemies, slide and hit, vegetable, I guess. That's a move. I mean, it is a move, so don't know what I'm arguing about. But yeah, it's pretty cool. It shows, it's got the final boss, Wart, here, which is pretty awesome. Very interesting boss that never really came back. The start of a lot of classic Mario enemies, like probably the most famous, well, definitely the most famous is probably Birdo. But like they got the Bob-omb in here. Phanto, I think, makes some appearances later. Sniffit is in this one as well. So some pretty iconic, enemies here. A lot of it they do kind of have. So they do kind of have the level breakouts in here to help you out. So they're kind of getting to it here. I find it's a little more in the later ones, a little easier, but they do have the full map here. They have the full map. They show you where things are. They have secret hints. They have tips on how to beat the bosses, which is super helpful. And it looks beautiful. Like, it's really, really well done. Let's see here. So it goes, got level 2-2, 2-3. So yeah, so it goes up to 2-3, 2-3, and Triclide, and how to beat him. So again, it's nice. It's kind of a starter's guide. Can tell you how to get started if you never played it before. Just some tricks on how to get into the game, kind of help you feel the rhythm out and what you need. And then amazingly, in this first book as well, to me, I feel like this should have been the main pull, but like it's odd of what they choose to talk about it. But the next part is all about the Legend of Zelda, but specifically, it is about the second quest, as they say in the title up on kind of near here. So basically, it breaks out the story, but it tells you how to get instantly into the second quest, which is to type your name as Zelda, and that'll get you there. If you beat it once, then it'll start under your regular name, but you can just skip there. This actually would have been a huge help back in the day. The second quest is extremely tricky, and I remember as a kid getting there, being the first one, and not knowing what to do, because I didn't know that you could just move through walls. So I think I found a couple levels, but I couldn't find what to do because I didn't know if you pushed against some walls, you could go through them now. I don't know if it says it. I definitely wasn't aware of it as a kid. But I mean, this one has all the way. It has the full map all the way up to level 6 here, which is pretty crazy. And then level 7 and 8, it kind of gives you it shows you where it is. And level 8, my God, is that the most cryptic spot ever. I looked it up when I finally beat the second quest of how do you get there. So this one's actually super helpful. The dungeons in the second quest were extremely hard to find. Not that they weren't in the first one, but doable. The second one, it was just madness. How to do it. Even level 7 explains to it. You need to burn this bush, but you have to do it from the right side, which you can't even access it from the right. You have to burn it, then access it, leave the screen, access it from the left. So this one's a great walkthrough. And what I love about it too is it's the second quest, so people have probably already beat the game and looking for a challenge. And then in it has the full map of the second quest and where everything is. So this was pretty key. It's one of those things as a kid, if you didn't have this magazine, you wondered how your friends knew how to beat everything. You're like, how did you find this? Like they knew the secret in Mario because they watched the wizard kind of deal, and they're like, oh, I'm just smart, I figured it out. But no, they had the power. They always had the power. The other side of this, kind of a weird one for the first poster, but it's just baseball. So yeah, whatever. I'll try to be careful with it and not wreck my books here. But maybe we'll show every poster. A little tricky to get on here, but I wanted to show the map. The map's awesome. My friends used to have, he made his own map, hung on his wall. It was super cool. But then the book loses me a bit as it goes into the whole next section, which is based on the poster, but it goes into this baseball roundup. I like baseball games. I used to play, it really talks about, so it talks about bases loaded, Major League Baseball, and RBI. And I actually used to play a ton of RBI, RBI 2, I think specifically. I think we played both, but more of RBI 2. And it's just it's a lot of pages about baseball stats and team management and the differences between the pitching and the fielding in the games. And that's cool and all, but I mean, I just don't think baseball was really the big seller, right? I think if you like baseball, you're buying the game. The other ones, you kind of want to show them what the cool action ones are. I don't feel like sports games need help to sell, I guess maybe at the time you could only buy one or two and you want to show the different ones so people can see which one is their style. So fair enough there. It's okay, if you're looking for more realistic, I think Bases Loaded was kind of the more realistic one. RBI was a little funner, a little easier, and that's, I think, why we liked it. But yeah, so this kind of break out all those. Next up is Counselor's Corner. So this is a cool section. This is one, and I'll be looking through when we get to them, just some interesting questions that people had. But basically, it was asking help. Things you were stuck on, things you wanted to know about a game. So the first one here, Ghosts and Goblins, is basically, is there a stage select, and how do I beat the Red Devil? So, great great tips. You know, how do I do this? How do I pick it? And I'm stuck on this enemy. How do I deal with them? Next one is Ring King, and it's sometimes letter P appears. What does it mean? Another great question. You know, they explain it. It has something to do with PowerPoints. I'm not too familiar with Ring King, but apparently you want to get it. Next one, great one. Something that's very important is Metroid and where some power items are to up your health. So they did a really good job here. They actually write out the whole first section. They have a map of it. They show you how to get the ice beam, where the high jump is, screw attack, wave beam. I actually made my own map. Maybe I'll find it and pull it out one time of Metroid. I've never actually beat it fairly. I beat it on an emulator, saving, but Metroid's kind of annoying because it's easy to die. It's similar to Zelda in a way where you can get all this life and that's great, but when you die, you start back at your original health. So in Zelda, you start back at 3 hearts. I can't remember which start back with Metroid, but you're in an area where everything just kicks the crap out of you. So it's hard to get your life back up. You basically need to leave the area and come back. And I just wish it would start with full health. It would make the game so much more fun. There's no sense. It's like, okay, I'm here, but I can't do it. So I have to leave, I have to grind, and then I can come back and do it. There's a bunch of cool ones here. Talking about the unlimited shell trick in the original Mario game. How to beat a boss called Hudraw in Kid Icarus. Again, not too familiar with that game, so not too sure about him. Rygar, someone, I have the flute, I don't know what to next. Like, great questions of people who are generally stuck. I think that's what Nintendo Power was here to answer, and this helped people get their specific answers instead of, the overarching one. They did make the hotline at some point, which was great, and people could call in. And then Castlevania, it's just like how do you get the bosses. The question doesn't make sense to me because they said, like, no matter how much I try, I can't beat these 5 bosses. However, how they know if there's 5, if they can't beat them, how they get by the first one, doesn't really make any sense to me. And then one of the great ones, it has Ikari Warriors. If the very, very famous AVGN video, but it has the stage select screen here that I can't remember his name. Kyle Justin sings, and it's like the up down A B left right A B up A down right left B up left A right B left right A left up A down A right left A start. Like, why? Like, who? Why? Like, even reading that, I'd mess it up. So super unnecessary. But yeah, again, kind of a good thing. It also has the ABBA of how to get back. So good tips, right? Like, it's something like this, or like in Super Mario Bros. How people didn't know that when you got a game over, you could restart from where you were. I can't remember exactly what you do now. I think you like press select instead of start, and it starts you back in the level you were at if you click continue. But a lot of people just thought it was, one and you're done. Apparently here too, it says something like if you get over 100 lives in the original Mario, then the program apparently has a built-in game over. I'm assuming that it's that old school programming where if you roll it over to 100, it thinks you have 0 and you die. So, I mean, it's interesting little tidbits. They actually announced their phone number in here so you can call. I mean, again, I'm sure parents spent so much money on that over the years. But yeah, I mean, if you were stuck in a game, what else could you do back then? No internet. So easy now, but back then must have been maddening. Then we have with a little first comic of Nestor here, who becomes kind of a mainstay, a bunch of cartoons. Not much going into this one. It's just kind of pitching the idea of these books about how helpful they are. Basically it's a guy giving Nestor tips, and Nestor kind of going, I didn't know that. I can get it. That's how I can get there. Then we have another kind of section, another interesting one called classified information. And this one's just different little different little tricks in games. So in ice hockey, how to pull your goalie, which I used to play all the time. I didn't know you could do that. How to get to kind of faster tracks on Rad Racer. How to get this apparently mushroom in a game called Athena that gives you max strength. I'm not sure of that game. Yeah, just a bunch of like kind of tips and tricks that you can do. And then actually, wait. So one of the coolest things about this book, and actually one of the reasons I want to make this video, I knew it was in here, I couldn't remember what it was, but they have classified information for Contra here, and in the tricks, they actually give you the Konami code. So up twice, down, up, down, down, left, right, BA, start. Says the famous one, gives you 30 lives, and this is where it's from. It's from the first book. That's why everyone knew about it. I think Konami then put it into a bunch of their games later, kind of homage to it because it was so well known. But it's cool. It's in the first Nintendo Power magazine. Yeah, it's got stuff for Mike Tyson's, Arachnoid, another Ring King one, Ninja Kid, Zanuck. I've never even heard of Zanuck, but looks like a shooter. It's not really my game. And then up next, we got another little break, and we're talking about Double Dragon. I used to play so much Double Dragon 2. Double Dragon 1 was so hard, I found. Like, I couldn't get anywhere in it. Double Dragon 2, we got good enough to kind of get to the end, although the level felt like right near the end there's all this platforming, and it got tough. But yeah, this is just kind of back to what we were talking about at the start. So just kind of breaking up the missions, how to beat them, tips and tricks to get through. This might actually be one I use because I've never beat this game, and it's one that I've always wanted to. Again, how they kind of do it is that they give you a full walkthrough of the early levels, but then they get to late levels and they don't quite tell you everything, but they still give you a couple tips, a couple things to help you. But it's, you still got to do it yourself. It's like, we don't want to give it all away. Again, they want people to call in and ask for help. But yeah, I'm not going to tell you exactly here's the super secret shortcut. His weakness is, this thing on the wall, and he hit it and it'll kill him instantly. A very interesting one for the next game they included in this first one is Gauntlet. So Gauntlet was a big arcade game, and it's put on here. And I used to play it, and I liked it. But it was annoying. Don't want to swear, but it was some BS. Basically, you're constantly taking damage, and it's one of those games that are I think a lot of original NES games were arcade hard, because in the arcade they were built to kill you, so you would pump quarters into them. And these games kept that alive and well, but you don't have the quarters. So, like, I remember just dying so quickly in this game, not getting very far at all, really enjoying it. Gauntlet Legends as a series was one of my favorite. I wish they'd make new ones. I used to play so much the N64 one. The Xbox one, which has so many characters, I think I beat it with like 70-80% of them for my Xbox died. I love it. And the original is good. It just, I wish it was a little more forgiving. I wish you didn't just take damage from existing. It's a little annoying. Next up, there's so many classic games in this first one, honestly, is Contra. Another game I didn't really ever play much. I've never beat it, but I just never played it as a kid. And it's really cool. I don't know why I've never gone around to beating it again. One, I might use this guide to kind of help a bit. I think I've only gotten to zone 3 before, the waterfall. I think I climbed it. I don't think I beat the next boss, which unfortunately is basically where it ends. It only goes up to zone 3. This one's pretty vague. Again, they have their main ones. So in this one, they have Super Mario 2. They have Zelda, where they get really in depth, and then they just kind of have some helper ones to kind of get you going. Next they have, like, weirdly, they have a game show one, just kind of talking about Wheel of Fortune, Jeopardy. Play both, they're fine. Wheel of Fortune was fun. No complaints. This next section, I don't even know what this is. It's called Video Shorts, but then it says it's the now playing. So I think it's kind of talking about ones that are going to be coming out next. So it's kind of talking about Legendary Wings, Iron Tank, Gunsmoke. Not really games I ever really played myself too much. I think I played a little bit of Iron Tank before. You got Rambo, Dragon Power, Metal Gear. Metal Gear I've played. Bionic Commando. That one looked interesting. Never really played it. But these are just kind of like very quick little blurbs about them. Probably get people interested in them. At the time maybe they weren't thought to be as big. But ones like Metal Gear obviously took off and were huge. I've never been a huge Metal Gear fan. I used to watch my buddy play a lot, and it was cool. Really liked the game. I'm not stealthy. I'm not good at stealth. Not what I do. Just kind of some quick blurbs about the games. And then they have even quicker blurbs about, I think the plan is that these games aren't in existence yet. Which makes sense, because some of them I've never heard of, and I don't know that they ever made. Like a game called Chesterfield. Or Terra Cresta. Maybe these games exist, I've just never heard of them, but I don't know. Like World Games, that could be a game. But it's got some cool ones in here. It's talks very quick blurb about Zelda 2, Adventure of Link, got Blaster Master, Jackal, Marble Madness, Simon's Quest, Life Force. Just very quick little blurbs to kind of get you interested. Hey, these are coming out. These are going to be in the next game. We're going to talk about them, and just get people excited about the magazine. I think it does a really good job with that, about kind of hyping itself up. Then it kind of goes in. It got some world news. It's got just some books and other things and events. I actually recently saw this book for sale somewhere. Someone was selling it, and I thought it looked new. So I was like, I don't really need it. Like, there's so many people have written so many books. I didn't realize it was from the first one. Like, I almost think the one I saw was a reprint. It looked so clean. I do wish I had this tips and tricks book for Zelda. That would be pretty awesome. If I ever saw that, I'd probably scoop it up. Then it's weirdly it's got some talk about like movies and shows, it's odd. I can't imagine they do that for long with so many games they have. Why are they talking about Kirk and Candace Cameron? Which also, fun enough fact, I forgot they were siblings until I read this. Like, oh yeah. Next up, we got Mailbox. Hopefully going forward, I don't want to be too formal with these. I just kind of want to talk about it. I want to point some cool things, show some cool shots. But I do want to get better just kind of pointing out a couple things I want to talk to. And there's one really cool one in here, and it's about a grandmother who, from Texas, and basically their grandson gets a NES. He's 7 years old. He gets an NES. He brings it to their farm, and he loves playing it. And so basically, he left it his grandparents, and she started playing it, and she got good at it. And then he took it back, and she ended up buying her own because she loved it so much, and she was having so much fun, and she wanted to show him how good he was getting. And she just kind of goes on, from 7 to 55, how anyone can enjoy the system. I think that's so cool. I think that's a really, really good letter. And it's just kind of, a nice story. There's other ones in here, just kind of talking about like, hey, I like this game, like it's pretty cool. Somebody says that, someone claims they have over 300 games, and they're kind of like, we only have over 100 right now, so maybe don't believe your friend. Talking about how Metroid is, talking about how much they love Double Dribble. Again, the last one's kind of like, my friend just bought one. He's interested in the player's guide, and they give a little pitch of like, hey, well, you can buy it by calling this 800 number and, paying us money. Definitely a cool one here. I wish I'd been more aware of this and been able to do as a kid. But next is the NES Achievers, where they just have people send in high scores. I'll keep an eye. Apparently, one of my buddies has a top score in one of these, but it's not till the N64. So I will be keeping an eye out for them. But these are super cool. People could send in their top scores. I'm sure a lot of these are fake. I forget what it was, but I think a Carl Jobst video, he proves that like there were some guys in these NAS Achievers, and it's now been proven what the top time could be, and there's like 3 or 4 people who were above it, so they clearly all lied. This is kind of back in the day of, be honest. Some people had access to cameras, some didn't. So people could just kind of claim they got a certain score, and there wasn't really any way to prove it. Like, so many people so many Karate Kids claiming they got 10 million points. I don't even know if that's possible. I doubt it in Karate Kid. Doesn't seem right to me. But you never know. Maybe somebody was that good. Yeah. Next, video spotlights. So this is just kind of like talking again a bit. It's just kind of talking about like some good players and kind of their accomplishments and stuff, which is cool. I mean, it would have been cool to read your letter in. I didn't find this part as exciting because, again, a lot of it sounds fake. They're like, oh, we have this kid, like, he can break all the records. He solved Super Mario Brothers in 2 weeks, Legend of Zelda in 1 week, 5 days, Metroid in 3 weeks, Kid Icarus in a weekend, Renegade in 1 weekend, Mega Man and Rygar in less than 4 days. Well, all this is possible. I don't know. Like, how does this kid have so many games and all this time? But maybe he is that good, Who knows? But just kind of a lot of bragging. Not as interesting to me. What is interesting, I'd like to talk about in all the videos, is the ranking of games. So, in this one, as it should be, Zelda's number 1. Zelda is one of my favorite games. It's one of the games I go back to all the time. I think it's one of the, not just the best NES game, but one of the best games, period. So, I'm going to see number 1. Punch-Out number 2, I get it. I just never was a huge fan of it. I couldn't get into it. Maybe it's part that I'm not as good at it, but it's just kind of waiting for that pattern, which I just didn't find interesting. Metroid number 3, fair enough. Metroid's got its problems. Again, I think it has the same problem with Zelda, where you start in an area without your full health, and it's very hard to get out of that area just to heal more. So it's kind of tedious in that game. A lot of NES games punish you for dying, and it almost makes them unplayable. But Metroid I found especially bad in some of the later areas. But super fun game. Love it. Super Mario Brothers 4. No complaints there. Amazing game. Kid Icarus 5. It's a fine game. I just never got into it. I never played as a kid. But it was pretty fun. Then rounding out the top 10, we have RC Pro-Am, Ice Hockey, which I love. Loved Ice Hockey. Rad Racer, Top Gun. Don't know how that is. Don't know how that got in there. And Double Dribble. So, again, I could see the racing games getting there. They were pretty fun on the NES. Double Dribble, fine. Top Gun, what the hell are you talking about? Especially when you look at some of the games they beat, like Castlevania's number 12, Mega Man number 17. Rygar. It's got its problems, but it's 30th. I'd put it above some other ones there. But yeah, it's interesting to kind of see, be able to compare, and when I'm reading through these, kind of see what overtake, what's going to knock Zelda off. What's good enough to knock Zelda off will be interesting to see. They also have it broken up by players' picks, pros' picks, and dealers' picks. And I will say for sure that I believe when I was looking at this, that the pros' picks are definitely the best list, if I recall. Yeah, I think I got mad because the players had Mega Man way down the list, whereas the pros have a top 10. I don't really understand the dealers one. I guess they're talking about the ones that sell the best. So that list is kind of whatever. But yeah, and the players pick Mike Tyson's Punch-Out is number 1. So guess that was a big one. But yeah, that's the first issue. So again, very, very cool. A lot of stuff in there. Kind of rambled a bit. Might try and get a more compact version of this going forward and pick some posts to talk about. But again, I want it to be kind of informal. I just kind of want to read through it, share some with people, and also it just encourages me to keep reading them. I have a lot of things to read. I have a lot of things I like to work on. So giving myself encouragement and something to do kind of motivates me. And again, maybe I'll do a cover ranking for NES. But again, they're so vastly different. It's not the same as Goosebumps, where it's the same artist, kind of same style. They're just so different that I don't know it'll work. But and again, you know, there's the insides are so different. There's so much going on that's impossible to rate. So I think we'll just read them, enjoy them, kind of be informal, flip through them, try and show you some pages. But again, you know, if you're watching this part of the video, thank you so much. I know I ramble a bit on these things. If you have stuff you see more of, or you know wasn't interesting in the video, let me know. Again, I mostly do these for myself, but I hope people get a little bit of enjoyment out of them. Gives them something to watch, gives them something to put on background. That's when I like these list videos, is when I work on other projects or possibly grind out a game. Just listen to somebody else talk about things I'm interested in. So hopefully you get some of that. But that's going to do it for today. So I will see you all later.
Thanks for watching. Please click to check out my other videos, like and subscribe, and come by Twitch under Floyd Mason to join my live streams.